In this box, we have Gotrax flagship scooter. It's their most powerful electric scooter. I'm excited to see it. Andrew, what do we have here?
We have the GX3 with top speeds of 38 miles per hour, a range of up to 60 miles per hour, and dual suspension. The scooter itself weighs 94 pounds, but when I was carrying this, it felt over 100 pounds.
Yeah. This is a heavy scooter in a heavy box.
It only took about 3 days to get here, so that was fast. And there's gonna be something that goes in the front there, almost like a little water faucet. Just this little pin, I've never seen that like that. Almost like a grenade pin. You have a charger, a second charger, so that's nice. The scooter is a 54 volt, 25 amp hour battery, charging at a 5.6 amp output. I should be able to charge in 4.5 hours from empty to full. Typically the normal scooter tools that we received end up in this little thing, the crappy tool bin. These things are just garbage. We don't even take them out of the packaging anymore.
The components that have come with it, from the chargers to the tools to the valve stem extender, they seem to be of higher quality than what we may see with some budget scooters.
I'm typically not a huge fan of this type of locking mechanism, but I do like that they have that extra pin for redundancy.
All right, we have the Gotrax GX3 fully assembled. Came in great shape. I don't see any damage from shipping, so they did a really good job with the packaging.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with a quick walkthrough. Starting out with the cockpit, you have nut hydraulic brake levers, handlebar grips with the wing that don't twist on you because you can lock them down on the edges. Control module on the left side. Looks like this is the horn. Coming from the front light is where that's coming from. Turn signal indicators. So one thing I'm already noticing is you probably want to leave this a little bit loose so you can adjust the display out of the way. Now I can lock it in place. You can carry it. It's 94 pounds, so not super light. Not a very portable scooter, but at least it can lock it in place when folded. But the reason why you want to leave this loose is because in order to make that work and fit, this hook, this is where the display has to be. It's really not usable when I'm riding because it's angled upwards. So by leaving it a little bit loose, you can angle it back for when you're riding. Moving down the front, you have a C-type suspension with 2 hydraulic suspensions. Both are adjustable for the rebound. 11 by 3 inch hybrid off-road tire with 160 millimeter brake disc and 2 piston hydraulic brakes. Moving to the deck, inside of here we have a 54 volt, 25 amp hour battery. There's 2 charge ports, one on each side. So you can utilize 2 chargers or just charge it from whatever side you want to charge it from. That's probably one of Jimmy's favorite features. He hates it when he has to drape cables over the scooters. Nice long kickstand. I think it's a really hard plastic resin. On the deck you have these lower deck lights to add for nighttime riding. Really cool design is you have these 4 bolts with this kind of lime green design. You have these holes inside of the silicone mat where you can access the deck as well. This is a pretty cool design that we don't see on a lot of scooters. A lot of the scooters you have to end up peeling the edges of this and then the glue gets all messed up. So I do like that they have cutouts for the bolts. Moving to the rear, you have the turn signal lights that are built inside of the deck. Then there's also a brake light built into the fender. Another 2 adjustable hydraulic suspensions in the rear where you can adjust the rebound. A 1000 watt motor with 11 by 3 inch tire, 160 millimeter brake disc with 2 piston nut hydraulic brakes. And one thing I forgot to mention is this is a dual motor scooter, so you actually have a 1000 watt motor in the rear and a 1000 watt motor in the front. By far the biggest Gotrax scooter that we've ever tested and reviewed on the channel. Very stoked to see how this does on off-road trails. But before we go out and charge it up, let's go ahead and get some measurements on the scooter. The usable deck space, about 16.5 inches, 8 inches. And then you have this kick plate in the rear, which is about 6 inches long, 8 inches, and then it tapers into about 4 inches. But the real question is, how much clearance does this have on the underneath?
Just over 8 inches.
From the deck, the handlebars measure about 41 inches at the highest point, and then the width of the handlebars, just slightly over 26 inches. So pretty crazy for a Gotrax scooter. We're used to them being super tiny, single motor scooters. So I'm excited for the future of their off-roading, high-powered scooters.
We're gonna plug this in, get it freshly charged, and take it for a spin where we're gonna tell you what we love about it, what we hate about it, and who we think should get the Gotrax GX3. It is freezing. We've got Andrew sporting his armor jacket. I'm sporting my armor jacket, but by 2 different companies, and it's so cold, my lips are numb.
I'm sporting a lazy rolling jacket.
This is by Beyond Riders, and they sent us a nice package. Check out the link right here if you want to watch our unboxing experience to their armored jacket, which is actually keeping me quite warm up top. We are going to do our brake test first, just like we normally do it. You'll be going about 20 miles an hour. Come to a stop and we'll see how long it takes you to stop.
The front brake's still more powerful. I even try to focus on grabbing the rear brake more.
Be cautious, at least on ours, the front brake is quite powerful. We're gonna go ride and find a place where we can talk about the things that we like about this scooter. All right, let's talk about what we love about the Gotrax. Andrew, get us started.
I love this throttle, how there's 0 dead zone on it, and it's similar to what we've seen in the past without a display, so there's nothing in the way from your throttle.
The whole geometry of it is very different, and the best thing is there is 0 delay. Everything is nicely laid out in the cockpit. The cable management is above average, I would say, for scooters, and I do like that the little clip that they have here, it's magnetized, and so that prevents it from having that rattling sound while you're riding.
A lot of the other scooters that have these hooks, you'll constantly hear this clicking because it's not set in place, or they have a magnet and it's just not strong enough. I love how stable this feels at higher speeds. Because the suspension is so stiff, it's rock solid and makes you feel like you're on train tracks on smooth pavement. But there are some downfalls to it, and we'll talk about that later. The front light is actually pretty decent. We were inside of the garage and it was projecting a pretty bright light even during the daylight. A lot of times when we're in the garage and it's daytime, you can't even see the light because they're just pretty much worthless. So pretty decent front light.
Locking mechanism, having the redundancy, very nice.
I love that they've put on these little green accents. Just gives it a little bit more style points. We've never actually seen scooters with these types of bolts that are colored.
The accents are certainly nice, especially, you know, it seems like recently some of the bikes and scooters we've been reviewing, they come with their bolts accented with rust, and this is kind of having the nice chrome and the green. It's a nice touch.
I really love how high up this deck is, and some people might not like that, but for me, I just love that it has extra clearance over types of obstacles that you can encounter on trails. It's like 8 inches of clearance. Plenty of clearance for the scooter when we're normally used to Gotrax having like 2 to 4 inches of clearance.
And then as we come to the back here, I do like that the charging ports, there's a charging port, one on both sides of the scooters.
I like that the scooter comes with 2 chargers. A lot of scooters only come with 1 charger. They're pretty slow, so the fact that you can fast charge or keep one at your office and one at your home is really nice. The kick plate angle is very nice. It's a subtle angle, so you don't have that issue where you're creating strain on your calf, and it's at the perfect angle for you to leverage that and keep enough weight on the rear tire so it doesn't slide out on you.
The suspension is pretty cool because they're all adjustable, and then earlier you were saying that the suspension felt a little bit different from what you've experienced in the past.
Yeah, because these are actually hydraulic suspension. Most of the suspension that you see that looks like this is actually coil suspension, so you really get that boingy feeling, where this feels nice and plush and also stiff, where coil suspension is almost always too soft when riding at higher speeds. I really like the way this rear fender is. It's nice and rigid. One issue we've been having with a lot of electric scooters is they're so floppy. You constantly hear them going up and down, but this is rigid and also has these side mounts, and so you don't see any type of movement at all.
Yeah, and it's actually more like a tire hugger.
And then I do like these hybrid off-road tires. It's got a nice rounded profile, so it feels fine on streets, but when I've taken it off-road, I have extra grip for the dirt. And my favorite thing is that Gotrax has finally made a scooter that goes faster than 30 miles per hour. This is super steep, and on most scooters, you'd bottom out going up this, but look at this, plenty of clearance.
Let's talk about what we don't like.
There's never really good instructions that come with the Gotrax scooters, and there's this park mode that I can't get rid of. Normally how park mode works on a lot of electric scooters is it memorizes where you were at last time, and you tap on the brakes, they'll just go back into that same speed mode. With this one, none of these buttons actually work to get it back into the same speed mode, and then I have to hit up to go back to speed level 3. I never ride in speed mode 1 or 2. I'm always in speed mode 3, so it's pretty obnoxious that I have to tap up 3 times.
So the instructions that came with this, not very good. and we don't know. Maybe there is a way to adjust this so that you can turn the setting off. Let us know if you guys know. We're gonna reach out to Gotrax and see what they have to say. So check out our full written review for any updates regarding this semi-obnoxious feature.
99% of electric scooters have the rear braking on the left and the front braking on the right. I'm not a huge fan that they're swapped. I have to memorize that. And in an emergency situation, you might not remember and you might be flying over the front handlebars just because of muscle memory. So I mentioned earlier that I like how the suspension is stiff and it's nice and sturdy for high-speed riding. But one thing about it is on regular roads, it feels great. It feels like you've got plenty of traction at higher speeds. But whenever I try to just go off of curbs or try to lift up the front for a little wheelie, when I slam down on that front, you can feel the suspension bottom out. So I was very surprised. For being stiff suspension, I wouldn't expect it to bottom out so easily. So I do love that the scooter goes up to 38 miles per hour, but what I don't love is the initial acceleration. I would expect for it being a dual 1000-watt motor scooter that I could get up to speed faster, but it's pretty slow at crawling up to that 38 mile per hour speed.
Andrew's doing a speed run, so we're gonna see the top speed he can hit going on this straightaway. Speed test number 2. Oh, he's booking this time.
So that time I hit 37.2 miles per hour. I have hit 38 on this with a full battery, so we're at like 80%. Just like I said earlier, the acceleration curve on this isn't the greatest, but one thing that is great is how smooth the acceleration is.
So that brings us to the end, and who should get the GX3?
It's a really nice scooter for the price point. You're covered by a US-backed company who specializes in electric scooters over the past 6 years. So this is pretty high quality, good suspension, nice and stable, and has some really cool features that we haven't seen on other electric scooters.
Good for off-road and on-road. Check out our full written review at freshlycharged.com. Thanks for watching, and when you guys ride, wear your safety gear.